Hello everybody, back here again for our vlog a day, and today is Tuesday the 29th, and today was a lovely, beautiful day to be alive. Got this morning, fairly decent time frame, got up and around, got the dog outside, jumped in the hot tub for a little bit, got my soak on, went ahead and chilled out there, basically as I was getting out of the hot tub and that, wife and I started talking, and it was one of those situations where she came out as I was about to get out of the hot tub, and we started chatting a little bit, and we'd had a bit of a disagreement or a situation that she had let me down on Sunday, and it was still weighing on me. But I know I can be overzealous on trying to overthink things, and so I was letting her have her time to figure it out and come talk to me when she was ready to talk to me about it. And normally if I have something like a fight / argument / discussion that's going to be difficult, I will give her a heads up like, hey, I need to talk to you about some shit. When would be a good time to talk to you about it? And she didn't do that with me. She just hit me with it, which I was fine. I'm good with it right now. Let's talk about it. So we discussed a lot of how it went down and where we're at and how it brought back up a lot of childhood trauma from my childhood of not feeling like I can count on anybody and whatnot. So we had a fairly long discussion for morning before she heads off to work. It would have made more sense to have this talk when she wasn't like leaving for work right away. So we could have hashed it out to the level we needed to, kind of thing. So Amazon driver, I assume it's break time. He's never playing, it looks like chess on his phone as he's all slipped up sideways in the seat with the AC running. So hey, I guess take breaks where you can. It's not worth driving somewhere else. Might as well just park on the side of the road. Might have parked in the shade though. Would have been a little easier, but hey, what do I know? So went ahead and we had a fairly deep discussion about what it was and what happened and whatnot. And it was not that big a deal. She was supposed to meet a client to give back a dog, and then she fell asleep. And she said she had a ringer on. I don't know if that's possible, but that client came to pick the dog up, and she wasn't awake, and I couldn't wake her up. I called from my phone, I called from her dad's phone, and everything else. And the part that sucked was I could have just pushed back taking her father out until after that pickup was done, and it would have been fine, or even taking him the next day. But I thought I could count on her to step up and handle this for me, and it didn't work that way. So like I said, it's 99% my problem, because it should not be that much of a big deal that somebody screws up something so fairly simple. Like, it was not really a big deal. Client came back, got the dog, everything was fine. Dealt with the client forever and ever, and she's not even mad about it. But it's my own lack of professionalism that drives me nuts in a situation like this. So yeah, not really. It's still messing with my head. It really is. And it's that whole fact of I'm questioning a lot of things of I need to figure out how to ask for more help, and then do I never ask for help for again, because it's the fact that if I don't get let down, I can't be let down if I never ask for help. I ask for help and then I get let down. So it's one of those situations that kind of mess with me mentally, and it is what it is. So we had a very in-depth conversation for the morning, and then she headed off to work, and I hung out with the dog. Everything is chill. Got myself a cigar, knocked out my morning smoke, and chilled out there with the pup. We were hanging outside, did a little housework, and then they were coming to pick the dog up, which was, we picked up a day early, which is all fine and dandy, 2 days early. I don't remember what the dog was supposed to be picked up on the 30th or 31st, I don't remember, but it is what it is. So they came and picked the dog up. They got there about 11 o'clock. They reached out with an ETA. They got there, we chatted. Their trip was amazing, told them how the dog's stay was. It was good. They booked another request for the end of August into September. So got that on the calendar, and then they asked how much they owed me. I told them how much was left of the fees, and they kind of hum-hawed around about the fact they're picking a dog up a day early, kind of thing, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but at best case scenario, you get a half price reduction on that one last day. And I'd set my schedule aside for this, so I didn't say anything. I just kind of like let it go. And the husband was more of like, hey, you should refund us half of that. Usually refund us like $40, and I was just kind of like, oh, here's what it is, kind of thing. So then they went ahead and paid me the full amount and a tip. So I think the wife was the one that actually did the paying. So she was much more concerned about the dog being here, because there was one time I couldn't watch the dog, went somewhere else, and I don't think they were very happy with that service that person got. So because they drive an hour and a half one way to my house to drop their dog off, which wasn't a big deal. Originally, they were coming here, and they had timeshare in this way. It was no big deal. They were on their way here, so it made more sense because they'd even come over and visit. They would even come over and visit the dog during the trip sometimes, and all that fun stuff. So that was great. But now, like, they flew to overseas. They flew to Paris and stuff. I think this time London, or where they went. But they still drive an hour and a half this way. They drive back up to the airport and fly out. So it is definitely, they flew into the airport yesterday at 5 a.m. whatever, then came pick the dog up today. So they drove a 3-hour round trip just to come pick the dog up from me, which tells me they're happy with my service. So, but here I am an extra day with no dog, and I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? But it's already mid-morning at this point, going up on noon, and it was like 11 they picked the dog up. So I was like, well, it doesn't really justify going and doing anything today. So I'm like, who knows what's gonna happen. Reach out to my wife and asked her if she wanted to go out and get Chinese buffet tonight, and then maybe only home, stop somewhere, find something else to do. And she decided she does have leftovers, which was fine. But I was kind of looking forward to it because I skipped dinner yesterday. So I've been 24 hours and I've eaten a little bit of Doritos and a hard-boiled egg. So I've had some, like, oh, I could punish the buffet for this. It's been a while since I've eaten. And then she said she wanted to do it. I'm like, okay, never mind. So I do some maintenance on the air conditioning, which I decided to flush out the drain line again. So I dumped in a little water, hooked up the shop vac, and sucked it through and dumped in like a gallon and a half of water through, and just kind of worked on it for a while. And then decided, well, today's a good day to go ahead and screw in some of my fence boards that are coming loose. They're just warping and getting old. An old ass fence that was here when I bought the house. So I grabbed a bucket of screws and drill and pull up extra batteries, stick them on top of the fence post. Then I had to walk around the block because I don't have a gate out to the back of my yard. So walked around, cut across the neighbors' yards, and then screwed a bunch of boards in and got a bunch of them secured. And then my battery died, which I'd set my second battery out there already, which was fine. So I went and swapped batteries out. And then I got probably, 12 more boards screwed in. And they're all still solid. They're not going to let dogs out, but I can see where they're pulling out. The nails are coming out. So I went ahead and basically grabbed their battery, got 12 more screws in, and that battery died. So I didn't get fully finished. I got all the big ones, the loose ones, the ones that I'm concerned about, and it's good enough for now. So put the batteries back on top of the fence, go back around, and then grab my stuff, put it all away. I went ahead and dumped some ice in the ice bucket, or the ice bath, to basically let that cool off a little longer. And decided I was gonna get my run in, so I went and got my run done. Got back from my run, and wife had already got home from work by the time I got back. So we chatted a little bit. Since she didn't want to go out to eat, I was like, ran a little longer than I planned, so I was out a little later, which was great. And then got back and told her, I said, go and eat whatever you want to. I'm really not feeling that hungry right now. Like, I think I was trying to find motivation to eat more by going out for a buffet. And she's like, well, we can still go. I'm like, no, it's too late now. Like, it's already 7 o'clock, and I still got to shower and all that kind of stuff, so it's not going to happen. So she went ahead and had the chicken and rice and vegetables left over. And then from there, I jumped in the shower, got out of the shower. We chatted a little bit about this morning's talk, but hardly any at all. And then I headed outside, had myself a cigar, enjoyed the weather. It was fairly early on out. It's a little warm still, but it wasn't too bad. And then I jumped in the ice bath first, I guess, before I got in the shower. And then got in the shower, grabbed my cigar, and then I was out early, ended up having two. I grabbed two smaller cigars, so I got to enjoy 2 different flavors and knocked that out and had myself a decent evening. Went back in, watched a little bit of Frasier, my bride, had some more Doritos as my dinner, and knocked it out and called it a day. So that's all I got for right now. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.